Okay, it's Colonel Cliff Serene again, and I'm going to talk to you today about inserting yourself into a time machine. And we're going to go first forward in time, then we're going to come back to the present, and then we're going to go backwards in time, then we're going to come back to the present. So we're going forward in time in the time machine. Okay, we've arrived in the future. What is in the future? The past. Okay, now we're going to go in the time machine and we're going to go, okay, we're back to the present. And now we're going to go backwards in time into the past. Okay, now we're in the past. And what's there in the past? The future. What does it mean? Well, we have to come back to the present. We'll come back to the present in our time machine. Okay, now we're here. Okay, what happened? What we see is that the past and the future are the same. Now, is it absolutely accurate? Yes. The future is the past, and the past is the future. And if we think of going backwards in time, we think going to the past. And if we think going forwards in time, we think going to the future. But if you went forwards in time and went to the past, and you went backwards in time and went to the future, it sounds wrong. But why is that? It's because everything that's not in the present moment is not fixed. We think we already experienced the past and you can't change the past. Right? But the past is something. Can we actually go into the past? Yes, you can go into the past. Can you bring your physical body into the past? No. You only go into the past with your mind and you examine memories. And going into the future, you go not with your body, you go with your mind in your imagination. Memories in the past, imagination in the future. What if you used your imagination to imagine a different past? What if you used your memories? Hard to word this. What if you use memories to go into the future? It's very hard because humans are used to the past is the past. It's what happened yesterday. And the future is what happens tomorrow. Why are we bringing the subject up? Because exactly that. We are locked into these beliefs. And what we're doing now is we are making these beliefs playful. We're going to play, like, I'm 7 years old and I'm going to play with these words and I'm going to make them my own words and they're going to have my own meanings because I've got a great imagination and that's what 7-year-olds do. They just play with imagination. And they can make up stories about things that adults say, well, that didn't happen. That's a very cute story. But to the child of 7 years old, they imagined it and it happened for them because they're not as stubborn as we are about what is real and what's not. So how can we use this? Most of the time, we're never going to use this because we're too hard to change. But if we could change it, what could we do with it? We could live in what's known as an astral plane instead of what we think of as the physical plane of planet Earth. In the astral plane, things are much more flexible. You think of something and it instantaneously happens. Here on planet Earth, you think of something and it doesn't really happen, does it? You know, if I tell you, I want you to think of the Great Pyramid in Egypt. If you've seen a picture of it in a book, you might get a picture of it in your head. If you've never seen the Great Pyramid of Egypt, you might say, well, this is a pyramid, this is the Great Pyramid of Egypt. But that doesn't make the Great Pyramid of Egypt appear right in front of you. It doesn't happen on planet Earth. You don't just imagine something and then it happens, you know. But in the astral plane, it does. If I say, imagine a pyramid that looks like this in the middle of, let's just say just off the side of the Nile River, what happens? You'll see a pyramid appear before you and the Nile River appear before you. Does it matter if you know what the Nile River looks like? Yes. What you have stored in your subconscious mind as to what you think the Nile River looks like and what Egypt looks like is what's going to appear for you. Unless I give you something more specific. If I say, I want you to go back really far in time before the Sahara Desert appeared. And in those days in Egypt, it was a lush jungle. And the Nile River, it's going to have a lot of waterfalls in it. That's going to change what appears for you. Or if I didn't tell you, and if we manage to clear out all of your memories of anything you ever saw about the pyramids, Egypt, and the Nile River, and you had no information whatsoever, and I didn't tell you anything, then you could tap into something other than your memories. You might get something from a different kind of place. Why would you want to do that? Well, maybe it's just a better way of getting information than what your memories are. I mean, your memory of the pyramid is just this old picture you saw in a book a long time ago. And it was kind of a fuzzy picture. It wasn't very clear, and it was black and white instead of color. And rather than that, why don't go with that one? We want something better. Okay. What is it? It's just a thing. I'm not going to name it right now. Okay, what else do we need to know? Okay, so if we can imagine the past and we can we change the past? Yes. How do we change the past? It doesn't matter. We can. I know about changing the future. Well, what do you think is going to happen in the future? Most likely, I don't really know what's going to happen in the future. Most times in the summertime, I go out and I have at least a couple of games of golf. So I think that most likely in the future, in the summer times, I'm still going to have a couple of games of golf. And when I'm at the golf, I usually have a couple of beers. I usually play with Alan, Janice, and usually when we're done, we have barbecue. So most likely in the future, that's what I can see, you know. So you've got something, because you've just done it for so many times in summers past, it's quite likely you think that that's going to happen in the future. As for anything else, 10 years from now, I'm probably going to have a new job. By 10 years from now, I'm probably going to have a different job. And, I always wanted to move to someplace new. So 10 years from now, I'm going to have a new job and I'm going to be someplace new. Okay. So what does it mean? Well, you're not very specific, but at least you think it's not going to be the same as it is today. Have I confused you? Well, this is just trying to be playful with time, because pretty much in our world, we're all way too serious. And we need to go back to being, I don't know, 7 years old. And I don't really remember what I was like when I was 7. Well, you know what 7-year-old, I don't know any 7-year-old kids in my life. It's been a long time since there was any 7-year-olds in my life. So what are they like? Maybe you could watch a movie where there's some 7-year-olds in it. What's the problem? The problem is we're not very good with our imaginations. We're not. We have a hard time. This is a hard exercise. I don't really. 7 years old, what was I doing? I remember the name of my teacher, but I can't remember what she looked like. I know there was a few kids that I can remember their names, but I don't really remember what they look like. I can remember 5th grade, but not 2nd grade. Maybe I can't. It's really hard. So what do we need to do to make it more flexible for us to remember? We don't have to remember. We're just going to change it. Huh? This is how hard it is for adults to get into a playful mode with our imaginations. It's like we go, I don't want to do this. This is hard. This is too hard. And, you know, can't we just, get up off the floor and we're just going to go into the kitchen. I got a bottle of wine there and we're just going to have some wine. It's very hard for humans to regress themselves to 7 years of age. Okay, so we go in the kitchen, we have a glass of nice red wine. Then what happens? You might relax a little bit. You might get more talkative. Is your imagination better? Might be, because sometimes after a glass of wine, people get more playful. I know, but still, the past is the past. It can't be changed. Right? I'm going to look at you and say, you missed the point. We can change the past. We can change the future. Because we can. Please subscribe and share, and I'll try and explain this again another day. Bye-bye.